All right, I'll entertain a motion to come out of executive session.
Make that motion. Second.
All in favor? I'm right at my microphone.
I make that motion.
And then we'll just wait for David to come back. Joe, I'll have you
Let me
come
see.
first.
Are you blowing bubbles?
Here he comes. So if you want to, oh, he's getting the mic ready. Queuing up the mic.
I didn't realize this was gonna be such a big.
I know you do speak loud, but it's the people on Zoom that need the mic, that need it, so. And I made a copy of the email, so it's in it's in the workshop packet there. So. Oh, you can start, Joe. It's totally fine if you want. Just, you can walk up to, I mean, the owl will take, I think, it won't. Is it doing it? No, it's not doing it. Right. Right. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Joe. I'm here on behalf of the Climate Smart Task Force, which is Ancram's premier environmental organization. And we would like to pitch a townwide yard sale in which any resident can come and sell their goods together. I think it'd be a fun community organization. We'd like to do it either here at the town hall or at Blast Field and take advantage of the new pavilion. The disadvantage of Blast Field is just parking is a little bit tougher, but I know we could probably figure out either one. The task force would take care of all the organization and come to the board with any requests that we need. I think off the top of our head, the only things that we might need are maybe to borrow some tables from the camp. We have a couple of tents of our own, pop-up tents that we could use. And we might need like maybe a dumpster or something like that, but not sure, maybe a porta potty. But we'd like to do it in May to coincide with folks' spring cleaning. And if we get rain, we could do a backup date of August 8th, which is National Yard Sale Day. And that would allow us to be kind of like, you know, as people come up from the city or wherever or around treasure hunting, they might find us on their map. There are a bunch of permutations and details for these kinds of things, ranging from allowing local vendors to come and sell stuff to having a map that people can pay to be featured on. All those things we can come to a conclusion within the task force and present it to the board. But I wanted to get y'all's buy-in so we could actually put the work in to bring you a firm proposal. I think it'd be a great thing for the town.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
What date are you thinking about? I said you had a rain date of May 8th, right? You said?
Rain date of August 8th, which is National Yard Sale Day.
Yeah.
It's really going crazy there.
So we're gonna meet next Saturday, the task forces, and probably hammer out more of these details a little bit more in depth. As far as dates, times, and just think about it like logistically.
Mother's
How we're
Day is
gonna do
early
it.
this year.
Yeah.
You know, it's the weekend
Wanna
of the
stay away from
9th.
that.
So it would probably be after that,
Yeah,
Mother's Day is the 9th.
the weekend of the 9th, I believe. We can do an action
Yeah.
meeting.
so,
The only reason I asked that, two things, the fire company is planning to hold, an open house on May 2nd.
yeah,
It's the one where we kind of let people come into the firehouse, see things, do things, and, we also give away, get fire extinguishers, recharge, we have fire extinguishers and, smoke alarms and different things for people, so that, we're doing that on May 2nd.
we'll stay
Just so you
within
know.
that date.
Yeah, and
Keep away from that.
May 9th, which I'd have to look at, I don't know if that's a Sunday or whatever. That's actually Mother's Day?
No,
Yeah.
May 10th.
Okay.
But
Um,
that- yeah,
the 9th, it's been requested that we do a barbecue for,
okay,
the Taconic Cub Scouts. Well, not Taconic Cub Scouts, but the Cub Scout troop that is based in Taconic.
Yeah, okay.
So, which we kind of said yes to that. We've done it the last couple of years.
Okay.
So
Great.
they changed the date. So we're doing that then.
If we did,
Besides which, we also have the Memorial Day Parade here,
right,
May 25th, I believe.
right. That's a good point. Okay,
Just making you aware of those things. No.
thank you. No, that's super helpful because then we'll go to
Yeah.
our meeting and then know that. And if we have to slip into a little bit of June, we could do it. It's
Yeah.
not, it won't be a thing. And I'm glad that you reminded me about those because that's awesome.
I think
Okay.
there's a sweet spot,
Yeah,
but as long where we don't want to be as early as the 10th because then we don't have enough time to give people notice.
right.
But
Right.
going into later May or early June is perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
I think it's a
Awesome.
great idea.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You need anything more from me?
I think that's good. We will have more information next meeting, and I can share that with the board too as we start to hammer it out as a committee as well. So that'll be fine. Thanks, Joe.
Thanks all.
Say bye to Aya.
I will, if I can get her away from Monica's doll.
Taylor, come on up. How are you?
I have my little list of camp things I wanted to tell you guys about.
Okay,
So camp is gonna run again 6 weeks, starting July 6th, ending August 14th. It's gonna be pretty similar to last year in terms of weekly themes, weekly field trips, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at the pool, Tuesday, Thursday at town hall with field trips, hopefully every Thursday, but kind of goes with the locations availability. Some things from 2025 that really went well that I want to continue. Holiday week. I got a lot of good feedback on holiday week. We did different like Summerween, Christmas in July, those kind of things. It was a lot of fun. Camp Spirit Week at the end. A couple of the counselors had mentioned that other camps did that. So we tried it out and the campers really loved it. It was a lot of fun. Just got everybody kind of excited and sense of community. Taconic Hills did the Titan Voyager with us, which was awesome. The kids loved it. The teacher part of me really loved it because it kept STEM learning going on in the summer. I don't know if they're continuing that. I just recently reached out, so I will, of course, pass that information on to all of you once I have that. We had a lot of community involvement last year, which I thought was great. Jim and I worked together to do Paint the Plow. He brought some of the trucks over. We did a fire truck. Wanted to keep that stuff going. I know, Colleen, we briefly talked about even maybe doing and reaching out to the sheriff's office and having a sheriff's car come. I really thought the kids had a lot of fun, especially the little ones, getting to check that out. And I just like the feeling of being a big part of the community, even though you're only 7 or 8. It was a nice thing to see. We had the church as an emergency evacuation location, which was great. Field trips that we're working on for this summer. We're going to the Rojan Library. That's already scheduled. Matt and I have talked about Lake Taconic, bowling, movies. We've previously done a farm field trip. I have to reach out to see if that's still a possibility. We did the Discovery Museum last year. The con with that was the price. The pro with that was it was really engaging for the campers, and it was definitely one they liked for all the ages. So we'll kind of see what our other trips look like and see what the budget looks like, and if we could fit that in, we'll try. But if not, we have lots of other fun trips. In terms of staff, Matt Damon is going to return again as the assistant director. So him and I have been working together a lot on all this planning. A majority of staff is returning, which is really great. With that, I know last year, Monica and I had an orientation about a week prior to camp. Looking at scheduling something like that again, I thought that was really good just to go over, plans for camp, expectations for camp, and that paperwork part. Communication via email last year was a big thing. I sent out emails every time there was a big event. I sent out emails prior to camp, just giving all the information and explaining that that was where a majority of the communication would come from. I think that that went really well. It was really effective. Families were able to communicate with me pretty well. I mean, my phone number, of course, is always there as an option too. And in terms of weather, Jen and I collaborated a lot on that last year. If there was ever something coming up, we were watching that. I really liked that we typically made a decision about camp. With Jen running the pool, I like to have everybody's input on it. The night before, which I think went well in terms of childcare, because we know with the hours of camp, it is a source of childcare, and I want parents to be able to plan if there is going to be bad weather. If there was rain all day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we typically brought camp here. If it was afternoon rain only, we did still have camp and closed early so that the lifeguards and the campers could still get swim lessons in, which I thought went really well. And I don't think we had to close at all last year. I think it was the year prior, but there's only really a closure if there's severe weather. Like there was threats of severe thunderstorms and tornadoes one day. So we were like, let's keep everybody safe and not have camp. But other than that, we have here as an option and there. The only thing that I still have to iron out is that cost piece with you guys. And then I have everything else ready. So applications should be available starting April 1st. I'm just gonna send that out to get put up on the website, and then I'll have printed copies that I can drop off here too.
A few things. So I had a few parents contact me, and so we have to work on like the parking.
Yep.
Trying to get so that people can come in, drop off their kid and get out.
Yeah.
It was tough. The little store was losing some business because people just couldn't make it in there and stuff. Little things we'll have to look into. They gave me a whole list of different things. Some of the things they really liked, like you said, maybe the moving of the toilet over to that side so they're not
Yes.
crossing the entrance.
Yep.
Stuff like that. Talked a little bit about lunch, if they could bring a lunch at times, because some of them have a bigger appetite than what was served. So little things like that. And we talked last year and asked if we can get the STEM bus here
Yes.
instead of the firehouse. It would be easier if
Yeah.
it's here.
So
if
that-
we- yeah.
That is my hope. And if they're doing that again this year, I was going to communicate that. That was a little bit of a misunderstanding on my part. I did not realize the electricity that would be needed for that. So the hope is that that would be on Tuesdays. But like I said, that's something I can.
I think I remember you telling me that part of the problem was it was a new build and the bus was afraid of getting stuck down there too. So that was a different issue at that time. So yeah, so maybe we'll meet sometime, go over a few more things, see
Yeah.
what we can do. Some of the kids want to go out early in the morning before the heat got too hot, seeing if we can like do that here, so, but I figure we'll meet up sometime
Yeah.
and we'll go through it.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Renee.
So Renee, last month I did my best to explain trending to the board. I was probably woefully bad at it.
Sure,
Thank
okay.
God Monica was here.
Okay,
And so I guess the questions would be to kind of maybe explain it probably better than I did. What you would need from the town to be able to do that if we chose to go ahead and do it.
I mean, I've got a lot of numbers, but I really don't want to bore you with numbers because it kind of gets overwhelming. So we all know that in 2023, we did reval in this town. We were 100%. That didn't last long. By 25 last year, we were already down to 90%. And for those of you who wonder what that might mean, that means that the assessed values of properties are 90% of market value. So theoretically, if you sold your property, it would be 10% more than the assessed value. If we did nothing this year, we'd be at 80%. So unfortunately, or fortunately, however you look at it, we're in a sort of a unique niche market here, especially in Ankrum, but also basically all of Columbia County. I think the median home value in Columbia County is higher than anywhere else in the state. So we're basically fighting a high market value. So again, if we did nothing, we'd be 80%. So I spoke in the past about doing a trending. The further you go down, the harder it gets to be. I've been working with the state quite a bit, and they said that we were still in a good position because we did a recollect and a reval in 2023, that we could probably do a trending now. If we waited longer, we'd have to do the whole shebang again, which down the road we will have to anyway. But long story short, so I've been working with the state to try to trend back up to 100%. We're in a good position to do that. So basically let me just look at a few numbers. We have the 4 neighborhoods, and then we have the vacants and the commercials. So for the neighborhoods, we're trending up a little over 18%. And for the vacants, 3.1%, and the commercials, 5.6%. So that'll put us in a very close range to 100%. And that's what they would recognize for the 2026 roll. What I need from you folks is really your blessing to go forward. I mean, you don't have to do this. So I know everybody's question is, well, what's that got to do to my taxes? So the way you got to think about this is, if each taxing jurisdiction, that means the school, county, town, and the fire, hold their levy or their budget, then there's more value going into each one of those budgets. Theoretically, the tax rate should come down. That doesn't mean it's 100% across the board, but in general, that's the way that works, because there's more dollars coming in, so that tax rate comes down. So that it should not necessarily change your tax bills significantly. That's the theory. So again, I just basically need your blessing to go forward. We would put that through for the tentative roll, which comes out in May 1. If we do this, that we will be sending out reassessment notices, change notices in April. And I already told Monica there's going to be a lot of them if we do this. So you will get a notice in the mail saying your assessment went up X amount, which again, for some folks, it will be negligible. For some people, it will be more. And the way this was arrived at was because of, again, neighborhoods, and also what you have, your property. So your higher value homes command a higher value. So they're at a higher grade and a higher condition. So those probably got trended a little higher than the average home or a single family residence on just an acre or two. So again, it's not across the board. It's tweaked quite a bit to accommodate this. And again, I've worked with the state quite a bit over the last 6 weeks, and they've come back and forth and said, nah, this isn't good enough. Oh, that's looking good, but this needs more. So it's been a real back and forth process, but we're there. So if we go forward, we're ready to do this.
Renee, I have a question. I'm a little bit concerned, a little more than a bit concerned about the global economy and what's happening now. And I personally feel it might be premature to do something like this, given we don't know what's in store for us in the coming year.
Mm-hmm. I mean, again, it's bringing up the market value of all the properties, some more than others. But if your concern is the increase in the market value, it's still there, whether you recognize it or not. So,
well, whether people will be buying and selling is still a concern, though.
I'm sorry?
Whether or not people will be buying and selling or staying.
Well, the market has not slowed down significantly. I mean, it's slowed down the last couple of months because typically during the winter, there's not a lot of sales. But before the winter, there certainly were. And there's
Yeah,
no
that was
notice.
also before
noticeable
before the
difference in that.
crisis we're in now. But another question, you said that the median home value in Columbia County is higher than any other county in,
Well,
The
it's higher than
state?
most counties surrounding us. I'm not going to say the entire state,
oh, okay,
but yes,
okay.
I think the median home value is like 525,000.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Now, you said that if we don't do anything, we'd have to do a reval again. What kind of time frame are we looking for something like that?
probably a couple of years.
I'm gonna say, because once we go below, is it 70%? Then the state forces us to do a reval?
They don't force you. They highly recommend.
Okay, yeah, well,
They don't force you.
they don't force you, but they highly recommend.
But keep in mind, the thing that happens with 100% is that your exemptions are at full value. If you're a lesser percent, your exemptions don't amount to as big a value for the individual property owner. Also, even though the equalization should balance out between the towns, typically there's a bit of an imbalance when that happens. And again, the state can't force you to do it, but the further out it goes, the more problematic it becomes. And also for challenges, grievance challenges. If you're not 100%, the grievance challenge is greater than when you're 100%, because there are certain companies out there now that are doing this, and they benefit from towns that are below 100%. So
if we wait on doing this, we're just gonna have a bigger increase then-
absolutely.
than doing it right now and seeing a smaller
Absolutely.
increase.
That is correct. And it's going to be a bigger jump. And that's it issue I keep hearing from all sorts of folks is, why can't we do this incrementally? This is incrementally. I mean, rather than wait, 2 or 3, 4 more years and have that big jump. And then there could be more tax consequences by then. So
That was my take on it, is that it's a more mental and adjustment rather than,
Is-
really getting really.
Is there any background information or that you could provide us that we can dig a little bit deeper into what's going on?
background information as
From the state, if they've done any additional research that we can look at? I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I think there are probably bigger drivers than what you just explained, and I'd like to know a little bit more about what's behind.
I can see what I can find out. Yeah,
Okay, if you could
Yeah.
point us towards any articles or anything
sure.
that
I-
the state might have published.
Yep. Okay. Sure.
One,
Did you have a-
yeah, I do have one more question. So if we table this or like let it go to next month, are we messing up the whole schedule, or what happens then? with
Well,
you?
okay, so the tentative roll comes out May 1. I have to have the backup for that in by April 10th.
Yeah.
So that means I have to have everything in place, all the trending numbers in, all the exemption numbers in, all the CO numbers in from before March 1st, which is valuation or the taxable status date. So if you table this, it's going to be tough to get that done. And after April 10th, won't be able to.
Do you know what our neighboring towns are doing?
Some of them are going to 100%. I think there's 2 towns that are actually doing a reval. And there's a
That-
couple of towns that are trending.
Are the towns that are doing the revals, did they also do the 1, 2 years ago?
Recently, yes. Yeah. So since I'm the assessor in 2 other towns, I can briefly mention that Gallatin is going for a 2029 reval. The last one was done in 2019. My other town, Livingston, and go back to David's point, that they can't force that town to do it. And the equalization has plummeted. and we'll continue to fund it, but, you know, if town doesn't want to do it, they can't be forced to do it.
I may want some more information, if it was okay with everyone, we could have to do a special meeting, deal with that before the April 10th. And just discuss that.
Yeah, but we can't, I think he would like some time, like he couldn't say it's April 9th and then,
Yeah.
you know, I mean,
I'm thinking like, you know, so or whatever,
Yeah.
notice it.
Or if you could just, I mean, there's got to be something published by the state that you could forward to us just for
Sure.
review.
Yep.
April property, that's it.
Yeah.
You might want to look on. there,
Okay.
because they tend to have a lot of, and when we did our reval last time, we got several articles from the county that were direct links to state of New York. Real property website.
Okay. Okay, I'll take a look at that.
Okay.
Thanks.
So in the meantime, unless you table it tonight, I have to continue because there's a lot of work still to be finished and hopefully we won't go backwards.
So what happens when you said Livingston doesn't do it at all? So what happens then?
It just continues to be lack of uniformity and there's no it's not equitable at all, but you know, that's the way it is. I mean, what happens and what has happened in Ankrum as well as the other towns is, you know, the sales are driving what's going on. So people come in and buy a 300, what's assessed for like $300,000 and they pay 1.5 million. I cannot raise that value to 1.5 million, even though theoretically you say, well, market value, that's what the market value is. Can't do it. Can't do it unless you do it to all the properties, at least raise them accordingly to what their value is. And that's basically what this trending is. We're bringing back up the value that we had in the 2023. And that's, again, that's market driven, and it's market driven by surrounding towns because individually Ankrum doesn't have enough sales to command that, but we're in several other towns that are in the same market. So through that, the state can say, okay, well, you're in this marketplace that has come up this much, and that's where you can be. So.
So I guess keep floating around with it, you know, and we were just saying we could in fact do an emergency meeting to give you, you know, so that you would have an answer in enough time to be able to file by the 10th of April.
The only thing I was saying was if we go 2 weeks out, that's Easter week. So we have, you know, Monday, Thursday, Good Friday, Easter Sunday, and then that following week is the week.
Mhm.
So if you were to do a meeting, it would have to be next.
No.
Yeah, I'd say don't let it go very far.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I think that he was looking for whether he wanted to go ahead with this trending and we were gonna go with the trending or, you know,
Yeah.
well, if the three of you are comfortable with it, you can.
I think it's better to go in increments than
I do too.
they, unfortunately, because I have to pay my tax each year, so.
Yeah.
I'd rather do it in that weekend.
I'd rather not
So
have-
even if I abstain, you go ahead and.
Okay, I don't care what they're.
I know.
The other thing that we probably should note too, and I think Renee would agree with me on this, if we're going to be having mailings going out, just make sure, go on our town website, go on my page, hit the link for the tax bills, put in your last name, just your last name, check to make sure your address is correct. Because we do have people that don't have their address correct. They've moved, they changed their address, they don't correct it with us. And then the stuff comes back to us and then we get phone calls saying, I never got that.
Yeah.
Check your address, please. Oh, we get tons.
And I should just add that, you know, when the change notices come out, like I'd mentioned before, some of it could be a little eye-opening. Talk to me, you know, don't wait for
Right.
grievance, talk to me. But I will also say that if I lower everybody back to what they were, we didn't gain anything. So, you know, don't come in with the thought that, you know, I'm going to get my assessment lowered Because if everybody does, we didn't gain anything, and the Board of Assessment Review is gonna have to hear that same spiel. You know, they have to be open-minded and, you know, it doesn't mean there aren't some inequities in that, in the trending. But I feel very good about the numbers that are coming out, so. So you'll let me know?
We will let you know. Yeah,
All right,
thank
good.
you.
Thank you.
Except tonight, once you decide. A little fast, I just need a motion to adjourn the workshop. Second. All in favor? Awesome. Yes. Order. The flag and a moment of silence for past town historian Clara Ann Van Tassel. She passed away this week. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Before we start with the regular agenda, I just want to double check. Is there anything listed on the agenda that any town board members feel the need to recuse themselves from tonight? Hearing nothing. Does anyone in the public want to make any comments on anything that's listed on the agenda before we start?
We'll have another opportunity, or it's just going.
Yes, are there copies, additional copies of the agenda are over there? Okay. Yes, there's, no, there's multiple times. Yep. Okay, so I guess I'm up first with a supervisor's report. Oh, minutes, duh, okay. Motion to, and second to accept the minutes of the previous meetings.
So move.
Second. All in favor? Awesome. Okay, now I'll start. Supervisors report. At the regular Board of Supervisors meeting this past month, we had a lengthy discussion about the county office building at 401 State Street. It's quite old. It was built in 1938 and is in need of some serious upgrades, mostly heating, cooling, roof. There's issues with the basement, and there are also issues with ADA compliance. So the county is looking at about $12.5 million, not including the finishes, to actually upgrade the building. So the board is going to start looking at options, whether we stay in the building and upgrade it, or do we move to a different building within Hudson, or even move out of Hudson and possibly into Greenport. The Hudson supervisors were kind of in favor of that, because then that would put that building back on the tax rolls for them. But so it's going to be probably within the next 3 years that we have to make a decision on the building. So that will be, you'll hear more about that. April was designated in Columbia County as the Fair Housing Month. And additionally, the chairman of the Board of Supervisors has appointed the County Administrator Committee. And Art Basson is actually going to serve on that as a member of the Columbia County community. So he was very instrumental in it originally. And so they wanted his expertise back on that committee as well. Sure. So the current structure of our the county board of supervisors is run. Each town has their supervisor actually is part of that board as well. So not only am I the supervisor here, I'm also a supervisor at the county level. And we elect a chairman which is another supervisor from one of the other counties or one of the other towns. And that is basically who is running the county government, as well as running their own town's government. So there was a push last year to actually add a referendum to the vote for a county executive. And that person would be elected by the people of the county, and they would actually run the day-to-day of everything that has to be done at the county level. And that was challenged, and obviously you did not vote on that, so it did not go up for a vote. So they're looking at other options. You can have a county administrator, or you can have a county manager. Now, they are still appointed by the Board of Supervisors, similar to like the chairman is now, but they don't have their own town to run. So it works out that they are just focused on county matters when you have that type of position. So this subcommittee is looking at the feasibility of that. How will that work? And if it's something that we want to move forward with. So as they start to meet, I will be able to tell you more about what they're thinking and what their plans are for that. I think it's a great idea, because he has a tremendous amount of experience, and he was involved in it before, because they have looked at this before. Because something else that I will explain is that I don't count as one vote. It's all percentage based, and it's based on your population. So a town like ours, which has a smaller population, has basically a fraction of a vote on anything. So Hudson, what they did is they broke that up into wards. So Hudson is also has a fractional vote, because if they would pull it, that would make sense, right? Because they're a densely populated area. If you're basing it on a percentage, they would always pull the vote. But some of our larger towns like Cloverix, Stuyvesant, they have much higher percentages of the vote that their supervisor carries. It just has to do with population. So that's how that works. So public safety, 911 is 30 years this year. So we've had 911 here for 30 years. They gave the actual head of 911 gave us a really good presentation, kind of just going over the hours that people have to train for and have to do annually to become a dispatcher with 911, which was staggering. Last year in Columbia County, there were 37,404 dispatched incidents. 15,128 were EMS. Fire was 3,018, and police was 14,095 events. I don't know what other is, Dave. Do you know what other was? I forgot to ask. There's like 5,000 other dispatches. So I'm not sure what that is, but I will find out.
Those are wires down,
Okay, that makes sense.
trees down, stuff like that.
Yeah, that definitely makes
Well,
sense.
fire company goes out, they're not considered fire calls.
Good point. Yep. And the other thing I found out is that they have this new system, and Dave probably knows a ton more about this than I do. It's called Prepared Live. And what it does is it couples AI transcription and translation services for dispatchers. Because, we have people that speak multiple languages, but also when you're in an emergency and your voice tone changes, it can be difficult for the dispatcher to hear you while you're calling in. And so this helps aid them in finding out what your actual emergency is and where you are. So I thought that was a really good thing. And the sheriff is purchasing new AEDs to add 15 of them to add in their patrol cars, because a lot of times they're one of the first people on the scene of an incident. Public Works, I went to the solid waste subcommittee. They recently did a questionnaire. Unfortunately, only 10 of the supervisors filled it out. So I don't know how much they're going to get from that questionnaire, because that's not really representative of most of the towns. So the subcommittee I am not on, but I was just attending. They're getting some more information to understand whether Columbia County wants to run solid waste, or whether they want to have a private contractor come in and do it. Do they want to keep the substations open or not? Who will run them? And how that would affect them human resources wise. So they have about 30 employees. And where would those employees go and how would that work depending on different scenarios? So they're working on that. And Public Works was mostly a discussion about a bridge in Stuyvesant Falls. So that wasn't really applicable to us. But it does have to do with EMS response, and they're trying to get one of the county road bridges open and passable for people. It's currently closed. And in the community, I actually was asked to serve on an advisory committee for Pine Plains Central School. They are dealing with some of the similar things that Taconic Hills has had to deal with before, where they have falling enrollment. And they could be in the coming years at risk of losing some of their foundational aid. And they require that to run with 3 buildings that they have now. They realize they don't need all 3 because they can kind of consolidate into at least 2 buildings, possibly even 1 building. And so they're looking at how they can kind of shift their operation to make it a little bit more cost efficient so that if they lose their funding, that they can still operate and efficiently. So that was pretty much for me. And there's some more details in my report, but I think that's out there too. So you can read it. Oh, you didn't get, okay. I'll take this. Oh, okay. All right. Oh, okay. So next is highway.
Is snow and ice operations on 16 days in February, and I got an old report. I picked up the wrong one. Bear with me.
All good.
Excuse me, 17 days in February, and I think it's 6 so far in March. I've got 4 here, but we've had some since. That's from ice, cleaning up drifts and snow from wind blowing. We continue to check over the trucks and equipment, make any repairs needed between storms to ensure readiness for the next time. I'm hoping there isn't a next time. This year, anyway. We've been trimming trees, doing some tree work until our chipper broke down last week. We're waiting for parts on that, which should be in next week. And working on restocking our sand and salt supplies. I was crowing about thinking we had enough last month, and we got bombed with a storm, and I was wondering there for a while, but we got a timely delivery of salt, and this week we took delivery of another 230 tons. So we've got a good stock going into next year. The money was in my budget, and the price I'm sure is not going to go down next year. So
No, you're right.
get stocked up. There's talk of a possible CHIPS increase in our CHIPS funds this year, depending on what the state budget does. The Assembly has 150 million extra to distribute amongst all the municipalities. The Senate has 250 million in their version, and the governor has 0. So they've got to hash that out, and we'll see when the state budget comes out. We've had a lot of trees down last week or so with the high winds. I'd like permission to go to the highway school beginning of June 1st through 3rd. I've got to ask you guys for permission to go. So
Where is that?
Ithaca. It's an annual thing. We go every year. And it's quite informative. And I warned last month about mud on the dirt roads. It's a couple have gone to in the dumpster, but by and large, they're not doing bad. And that's about all I have.
Questions? Thanks, Jim.
For the month of February, I brought in $662 in fees. Most of this was garbage tags. $500 of it was garbage tags. I've collected a little under 80% of my tax roll. Second notices will be going out April 1. I too would like to ask for permission formally to go to my Town Clerks Association meeting conference, which will be April 19th through the 22nd. Mine is in Albany. They are going to have somebody from Homeland Security there to give tips on see if somebody comes in and you think that they're human trafficking. So they've got some different stuff on the calendar for this time, so it's pretty neat. And I guess I probably should announce that yesterday at my local association's meeting, which is the Columbia Green Town Clerks Association, I got elected the president of the committee. So I don't know. That's we'll see. But yeah, that's because I was one of the longest termed ones in the room. That's it.
Awesome. All right, next we have town board member reports. Councilwoman Boyce.
So as I had mentioned before, I had, somebody sent me a letter, different things that you could do to improve, the camp, little suggestions. All right. Some suggestions that we can do for the camp. Beside the one person that actually, sent this to me, I actually met with another person. They were representing two families, and so they gave me some more hints. So I'm hoping to sit with, Taylor, and we'll hopefully include some of the things that we can include and straighten out a few things that didn't work so well and go from there. We're gonna be talking about this later, right?
Mhm.
And then at the camp thing, it says camp, kids camp fees. Can we talk about, because we have to put out an advertisement for WSI.
Yeah.
No matter who does the pool or what's gonna happen, I don't know. But we have to get somebody to teach lessons because my older lifeguards are now moving on. They are going to their internships right now. So it's leaving us with a hole to fill. And so we have to advertise for some older lifeguards or WSI, which I hate to say is WSI is expensive, but she teaches lessons. What isn't?
Mhm. Thanks, Jen. Councilwoman Gold.
Last month, we spoke about the contract that we received or the selection we made for the web redo provider, the vendor. We have the contract in now. Colleen has signed it. I don't know if we need a vote to go. We haven't submitted it back to the vendor yet, but
Well, I have that you voted on it last time with the contingent of it was good as long as nobody had any glaring questions.
okay. So
Yeah.
are we good to move
I think we're
forward?
good to move
Okay.
forward. I looked it over. It looks reasonable. I mean,
Yeah,
it's what we budgeted for, so yeah.
great. Okay, so that activity will begin in full in April. And I'll keep you updated on the progress on that. Otherwise, I met this week on behalf of Ankrum Neighbors Helping Neighbors. Christina McCoy and I met with the new owners of the Steel Bow Farm, which was formerly Thompson Finch. And we met with Finnegan Faribault. I think that's how her name was pronounced. She and her husband took over the farm from Marnie. And they have agreed to work with Neighbors Helping Neighbors to provide food for the food pantry this year, which is terrific. And they join Sky High Farm in Ankrum, who is also providing a great deal of produce, and Rocksteady Farm. So I think it has to be recognized that our farmers are really very, very generous with the food pantry. The other activity I've been working on, and we'll be meeting tomorrow, is on a Seniors Day program this summer. Monica, Colleen, and I will be meeting tomorrow with representatives from the the Columbia County Office of the Aging. And we're hoping to put together a Seniors Day this summer where we can present the offerings that the Office of the Aging has and the benefits to our seniors. Last year, I don't know how many of you heard the presentation, but they did send a representative to a town board meeting to give an update on what services were available. There are many, and I don't think that a very large percentage of our seniors take advantage of what is offered. So we're going to be putting together a senior day, and we'll have more information on that after we meet with them tomorrow.
Thanks, Amy. Councilman Boyce.
Okay, as I spoke to you earlier, Colleen, I want to talk about the planning board meeting this month. I attended the planning board meeting, and I was very disappointed. As we just heard about the Sky High Farm, they're working with the Neighbors Helping Neighbors to get them food and to do different things. They talked about their whole complete operation. They also presented with the help from Crawford and Associates. They had a plan to subdivide 2 parcels off of their farm and actually give them free of charge to people that have been living in these locations and paying rent on them for quite some time. And quite honestly, it was really an outstanding thing, if you ask me. I mean, we've been talking about affordable housing here for quite a few years, and this was actually one chance to really accomplish things. And I was really disappointed with the chairman of the board's demeanor and the way he handled the whole application. He was given an application. It was presented actually by a representative from Crawford and Associates, which is a reputable engineering and surveying firm from the county. The person stated that these places met all of our requirements and met all of the setbacks and did everything. And immediately he came out with a bunch of condescending comments and said, well, I've never heard of anything for free. I can't believe this. And what's going to keep the people, these are trailers on these property. What's going to keep the people from removing the trailers and then, gaining a windfall from selling the property? And these people, want a place to live. That's why they're renting. That's what they're doing. These people were in the audience and could have at least stopped at one point and asked a question, been somewhat polite and respectful and asked a few questions, and that never happened. He made comments about different things that he was upset with about the property. There's a shared well on the property, but that shared well has been working for 50 years now. This is not a new site. This is a place where these buildings have been for a long time. They actually just drilled a new well and they already have an agreement. And if you would have taken the time to ask the people that were going to be given the property, they plan to drill their own well, but they're not doing it until they own the property. And I can't blame them. They're a young couple. There were so many chances that we could have done something constructive and been polite and decent. And that never happened. And it ended up, at one point, you had to announce to everyone they had no clue where it was. Well, to start with, it was Dennis Sigler's property. The Sky High people made a point to say that they had purchased Dennis Sigler's farm and they wanted to take two pieces off of that. Everyone here knows that Dennis Sigler was on the planning board for 40 years and was on with Mr. Crocco for quite some time. So I'm pretty certain he knew where it was. And quite honestly, I'm absolutely certain because he bought hay from him for his alpacas forever. So it just, none of it rang true. And I was really disappointed in the way that went. And then afterwards, he stated that we didn't want to live with the engineering report from Crawford and Associates. We needed to get money into an escrow account from these people to make sure that they were correct and doing things properly. So free became unfree really fast. And I just didn't understand it. It didn't make any sense to me. And it just proves one more time that we don't really want affordable housing in this town, it doesn't seem, because we put obstructions in front of everything. And I don't know where we go. I don't know how we address it. But I just thought it was terrible that we behaved this way. I mean, as I said, we had a group in town that wanted to do something decent for a couple people. We had a couple families who thought they were going to get, some type of a break in life because you don't get many of those. And it just, I had to leave because I was going to lose my cool about the whole thing. I didn't think it was right. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you, David. Okay, before we go on to other business, does anyone have any public comment about anything on the agenda that they'd like to make? Okay.
I noticed on the agenda that you've redone the escrow law. But when you do the resolution, could you just give us an overview of the changes?
So we haven't even really begun with that yet. We're just proposing some changes that we are going to make, and I think there's a spot here that we'll talk about it a little bit, and I'll go over that a little bit more, why we're changing it. And it's going to involve us making our suggestions and what we want, and then it has to go through John Lyons, the lawyer, to go ahead and do it.
It looks
Yeah.
very efficient.
And then you have to have,
We have to
a
have
public hearing.
Yeah, it's a long process because it's a regular law. No. Yeah, so, right, you have to have a public hearing and everything. So you'll have a lot of time to be able to talk about it. But does anyone else have any questions or comments? Okay, so we'll jump right into the escrow law. We talked a little bit about this last month. And the reason why we are updating it, because it's pretty much from the other towns that I've looked at, it's all pretty standard, a standard language. We probably all shared the same lawyer, is my guess. And so they drafted a very similar document. But when we discussed this with our accountant, the way ours is written, it has basically the responsibility of the accounting for this on the town clerk. And that is not the appropriate way to do this. It really has to be probably the planning and zoning clerk that has to do it, because Monica she's completely removed from anything that would be asked escrow of, like any sort of planning board application or zoning board. So she doesn't even know what's happening and when it's happening. So we have to amend our law to do that. So as the town board, so what I did is I took a stab at things and just kind of made some comments of where we think we need to tweak things. And mine was specifically about the language, taking Monica out of that and putting in, I think, planning and zoning clerk is what I put in there. I'm not really removing you. I'm just from this. So, but the other thing that we kind of briefly talked about in our workshop was we'd like to also make it a little bit clearer how escrow is set. and make sure that it's fair and it's consistent amongst different types of applications. Obviously, a commercial application is probably going to have more escrow because there's more parts and moving pieces to that. But we want it to be a consistent way of doing that. So I guess, does anyone have any questions or anything that you might want to propose that we add to it, or do you want to sit with it for a little bit and read it more?
We're gonna make the changes, right? The official changes.
Yeah.
And so basically, we're just doing it so that it is done correctly.
Yes.
Because right now, it's not worded correctly.
No.
So really, it's kind of out of our hands until they take a stab at it.
Right. And I just, like I said, mine was just pulling Monica out and putting in that. But we may have to make decisions on how we want to how we want the wording to be to set the escrow. That might be the only thing that we would have a little more discretion on. So do you want, Amy, did you want to add something? Oh, okay.
I just, when we discussed it earlier, it's just about how much escrow and what it's based on,
Right, right.
because I don't think that's very clear.
It is not clear. And this law is in our E-code, which you can get through the website right now. You can take a look at it at any time, but how the actual dollar amount is set is not very clear, and it should be crystal clear, I think. So that nobody's really surprised at this when they come to a meeting. That seems unfair to me. So that's that. The 250th year celebration. Do you want to talk about it? From what you, Monica is one of the members of the committee, so
So I haven't really, Amy, were you on? No, Jen. I added Jen. So we have, think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 members. It's being overseen pretty much by Libby McKee. They have a lot of ideas. They're going to come back with something more solid on what they project celebrations are going to look like at the next meeting. It was kind of a very quick turnaround by the time everybody got together. They're going to have a statement, and one of them is going to present it at the next meeting.
Right.
But yeah, they've got some great ideas. No, I don't think so. And then the only other question that I had, which I haven't brought up with the committee, is apparently the Flag Day Parade in Hudson has invited all of the towns to bring a float. They'd like to have every town have a float from Columbia County represented. Now, Flag Day is in June. It's now March. So we need to be thinking, and I don't know, you're gonna talk to somebody at the county to see?
I've only heard it by hearsay. It was
Yeah.
never actually officially presented to us that we needed to do a float for the Flag Day Parade. So I believe from what I've only heard it from like, oh, we've got a float. I said, why do you have a float? What are you talking about a float for this parade? You know? So,
So if
Yeah.
anybody has any float ideas, or you have
Right.
a float sitting around that you'd like
Right.
to offer for our use, that would be wonderful.
hay wagon, something.
Costumes, yeah,
Yeah, it's true.
I'm envisioning paper mache,
Go for it.
Yeah, so something 250th anniversary
Maybe-
themed.
a piece of the great
Right.
chain.
Right. And that's always been an issue for us.
Well, it has to be
So-
paper mache or we're gonna have flat tire.
Yeah.
But any ideas would be wonderful, because this is gonna have to be something that's going to have to be put together before the 250th.
Right.
And let's face it, we're creative people.
Speak for yourself.
I expect
I
us
know.
to have the best float in this parade, so pull it together.
I haven't heard if there's prizes or anything for this. Maybe there is, but right.
And Amy, I'm envisioning, revolutionary,
Costumes.
yeah, I'll be Lady Liberty. I'll be Lady Ankrum.
Yeah, so I expect that there will be we'll have a good presentation the next month in April. I also talked to the supervisor of Copake and the supervisor of Hillsdale because David had a great idea last time. He said, Memorial Day, we're hosting it. He just looked up like, did I? No. He had a great idea where he said they're coming to us this year. Maybe they might want to, maybe if we wanted to do something really simple at Memorial Day, maybe we could include them, and they are all for it. They are totally for doing that if we can come up with something.
Well,
So,
we were just given an invitation to Memorial Day today ourselves.
oh, you were?
Yes,
Okay.
from the VFW. So we aren't having anything to do with it.
Oh, okay.
I
Okay.
was a shock to me when I got the
Invite,
invitation. I said,
okay.
wow, I thought I was gonna send these out.
Okay, so then we'll talk with the VFW, I guess, and see, but Copake and Hillsdale were all gung ho and ready to come and celebrate with us too, so, more to come for that.
Costumes, people.
And costumes, yes.
Wait,
So
shoo.
the next thing I have is the kids camp fees, which is something we discussed last month. And I provided a broad range of different fee types. And the question is, do we want to charge a small fee for residents? Because I know we already charge an out of town resident fee. Most of the lowest amount I saw was $50 for the 6-week period per child, or $100 for a family. Is this something that we want to do? I know Taylor would want to know so she could put it in her forms.
Is
and
it
her
something that we
packets.
need to do?
It's fairly expensive to run camp. We could do a scholarship drive. Possibly that might be an option. Steve had mentioned that at one of our budget workshop meetings, if you remember, about the potential of charging a small fee for campers, for even residential, people that live here.
I
So-
think I think they were talking like, it would be like a registration.
Yeah, registration fee, and it really would be just to offset like supply costs essentially.
Yeah, I don't mind it if, as long as it's not arbitrary, as long as we
Right.
need it,
Right.
if we need the funding, the additional funding.
But
Right.
you're talking about $50 a kid.
It's not gonna pay, that would not. be-
I was gonna say, there's what, roughly about 50 kids. You're only talking $2,500. I think the town should absorb that. I don't think we should be, that's kids camp. Let's take care of it. I mean, for only bringing in $2,500, I think that's a no-brainer.
And I put it this, one can.
Oh, yeah,
Talk about that, you talk about fees, what is it running right now?
About 30. What's the payroll?
if you add, it's about 30 grand with the payroll, but if you add, remember, you're also getting swimming too. If you add that in, it's probably double that.
Yeah, but
But
the swimming pool was there forever beforehand.
right,
And we always did camp for everybody free of charge beforehand. This new camp is not something,
Right.
while everybody wants to believe it's new and just been invented. It was called Playground and I
Right.
went to it as a kid.
right.
And we went all over. We had a swim team and we went for swim competitions everywhere and all kinds of stuff. So I mean,
I didn't like.
we can't take care of our kids in town. I think we're missing the boat.
Okay.
And neighbors did say they would provide the lunches again.
Okay,
So they
so
can-
that's a big help too.
And the other thing that we can do, which we've always been very successful at, is to continue to, you could even start now. Art would start now. Send out a blanket email to the community and say that we
Donation.
are seeking donations to help fund the kids camp.
We make out better doing that than I think we would do charging.
How much is?
I would agree. So 35, about 35,000. Yeah, so it's 6 weeks.
6
Yep.
weeks.
Is that not including the pool though?
That's not including the pool. The pool's more, but the pool, as David said, has always been there.
What's covered, tax burden, 35 grand.
Yeah,
It's in the budget.
it,
Okay.
yeah,
So it's paid for.
yeah,
Basically, yes.
basically,
So what do you?
and we budget it, we budget for it. So, I mean,
Why are we looking for more money?
it was just to,
It would help our budget.
help our budget would be a good way to put it. So, so then I guess,
It sounds like we're going to keep it free.
Okay.
Use, try to get people to donate for it.
all
And
right,
then let's see how we make out with that.
The non-residents.
The non-residents pay. I think
they
if
do.
if you're not a resident and your child comes to camp, I want to say, but I could be wrong. It's like $45 a week, something around 45 or 65 a week. I did have I believe it was 2 children that were sponsored by one of the daycare places in Millerton. They live, I guess, on the town limit, I think. And they sponsored 2 children last year to come to Ingram because they couldn't get them in a different camp. But
okay,
I want to say we maybe have a handful of non-residents.
okay, so, and certainly $45 is not very much at all, right?
Childcare before that.
Yeah, really. Yeah. Okay, so since we don't really have a vote, I think we're all pretty much in agreement. I'm not even gonna ask for a motion to do it.
All right.
So,
Trying to save
Okay.
battery.
what?
Bring around with my mic.
Oh, okay. All right. Next item. Okay, so we're on to new business. So as you saw, Renee was here to talk about trending. And if we could make a decision tonight, it would be great because I think that would help him know where he needs to go with that. It's a hard decision to make. However, I'm just gonna put my feelings out there. I feel like it is easier on people if you do things incrementally rather than waiting, letting that drop and then having a huge discrepancy in assessment values. And then therefore it possibly affecting your taxes that way.
My concern is, once they go up, they don't come down.
That is true.
And considering the state of the world, I'm very uncomfortable with a higher assessment or with
Mhm.
redoing the assessments.
Yeah. So if you want, I know Amy, you expressed that you might want a little more information.
I know, we don't have the luxury of time for this.
Right,
But the vote will carry.
okay. Do you have any thoughts about it, David? I know you did express some in the workshop, but.
I think if you look at what equalization rates do, one thing that I don't think Renee explained very well, when your equalization rate drops, and they assess your taxes, if they say that, say it's $300,000, and they say you're at a 60% equalization rate, they charge you 40%, you charge you taxes on 40% more. They charge you taxes on almost $450,000. And that's how, so quite honestly, whether you go up in assessed value or not, they're still gonna make you pay
Still do.
taxes on a higher value than what your assessment is. Nobody ever wants to sell their house for what it's assessed for. Nobody ever will. So as soon as we do another reval, people are gonna start selling their places and we're gonna be dropping down from less than, our equalization rate's gonna go down again.
Mhm.
That being said, I don't think we can allow it to go too low because that just ruins everything for everybody.
For
You know, we're all paying way more taxes than we should on places. So you're damned if you do and damned if you don't,
I know.
either way. But you're gonna be paying higher taxes whether they raise your assessment or not. Cause the equalization rate is what nails you in the long run.
Right. Right. Well, I guess let's run a vote on it, because I know he really needs the information to get moving. I'll entertain a motion to enter into a trending for the town of Ankrum. Second? Anyone? Second?
Oh, I'll second it.
I think we have to do it,
I know.
because you're basically talking about,
You're gonna pay those taxes. Whether you do it or not.
so basically you're talking about the levied amount though. So if your levied amount is the same and you have a lower value, you're just gonna have a higher rate.
Right.
So it's supposed
Gonna
to.
drop your rate. It's supposed
Right.
to drop your rate.
So this is supposed to basically. they say
Right.
Pretty close, but doesn't always seem that way.
Yeah.
No.
All in favor? Aye.
Abstain.
Motion carried. It does really.
I just think the timing sucks.
Okay, ZRC. So the ZRC, Carol sent us her request to appoint 2 members to her committee, which would bring her back out to so she's lost 2 members and is now looking to fill those positions. Plus, she is also looking to have the possibility of 2 alternates, because there are times that, like, for instance, this past week, I don't think you met because you didn't have enough people to actually meet. Not that you vote, but you still didn't have enough people to actually do your meeting. So having those alternates could be helpful because they could come in and still discuss things. And so she interviewed. Both Amy and I were on the interviews, and there were 4 really good candidates. And so I think that they all bring something important to the table.
Before we go any farther, I sent you an email and it said the way this was being set up was to arrange for this to happen. And you assured me that it was not. Actually, in your email to me, your email says, you're reading too much into this. This is not what is going to happen. The point of having a second board member is to have a second set of ears to see the dynamics of this committee. In fact, I think it would be good for you to attend the ZRC meeting. So you did exactly what I said you did. You got a second person there so you can approve new members.
No, I'm asking.
No,
if we can
that's
go
exactly
if
what happened.
There was some questions whether we wanted to fill more people on the ZRC. Carol went through the proper motions and which she needed to do to see if she could find people,
But-
because she is under 7 right now.
I thought we talked about the fact that we have had a couple members talk about actual problems with the zoning revisions committee and things they didn't understand or didn't like. Steve Oya sent out an email to all of us that said they're becoming the zoning additions committee, not the zoning revisions committee. I'm pretty certain why Dennis Ziegler resigned, and he told you what the problem was with that. We also have another person who was very disgruntled about how things are being run and what's going on. So when you have 3 out of 9, that's 30% of your board doesn't like how things are going. I thought we said we were going to take some time and try and figure this out before we appointed new people at the last meeting.
Mhm.
Is that not what we said at the last meeting?
Yeah, I mean,
So now we're going to appoint new people
I am
instead of this meeting?
proposing who, I am saying who Carol has proposing, which I was on on the interviews. They were very good people.
You hired another person for the town. Let's be real, that we're going
But-
to talk about tonight.
But if you are uncomfortable with those appointments, you should go to the meeting and
I think-
maybe we should step back and talk with Carol and attend one of the meetings.
The-
And yeah,
The zoning revisions committee was adopted in April 2010 when the Ankrum Comprehensive Plan was put into place. They did this, the plan was enacted in 1972, but they wanted to have the zoning revisions committee to bring the town zoning and subdivision laws into alignment with the comprehensive plan. There's been times where it has not been operating every year. I gotta tell you, if you want me to read the minutes from the last couple of meetings, when we're gonna put in zoning laws, that if you are trying to build a pond of 1,000 square feet or more, you have to either have the water trucked in or fill it from a tank. You can't use natural water. Well, I've never heard of a pond without natural water. How does that work? I'm uncomfortable with the whole process right now, and not even putting in 2 more people. There are other things in the minutes. I think we need to figure out what we want to do with this. And one of the people on the committee asked for guidance from us. Well, we talked about that we need to be more in tune with what we want and give them guidance. And I don't think we've come up with that. So why should we accept more members tonight?
okay.
And that's my position.
I understand your position. Absolutely, sure.
David, we're down to 7. 4 people were out last week. We couldn't even have a discussion. These people that you are not putting on, or you don't want to put on, are people we need for a discussion. The more people we have for a discussion, and we have new people that I am excited about because they bring new ideas, we can get new ideas in. If you leave us with just 7 people, when 4 are out or 2 are out, it's a very small discussion. And the consensus you get then is very one-sided.
I think it's
You
pretty
do-
one-sided as it is. We wouldn't be having
Well,
ponds with fake water.
pardon me?
Said we wouldn't be proposing
Wait a minute,
ponds.
hold it. You're
Okay.
talking about our discussions, not anything we have put before you. And I think it's unfair of you, very unfair of you, to talk about something that hasn't come before you. If something comes before you that you don't like, it is your job to vote it down.
Are these minutes available on the
Yes.
website of the town?
Yes.
Can anyone in this room
Yes.
look up those
Yes.
minutes?
Yes.
So I'm not telling them something they couldn't look up on their own. Give me a break. I'm just voicing my displeasure with reading your minutes.
Okay, wait,
Can-
before
I
we,
think you have to be much more specific with me so that we can have a discussion.
I'll be more specific if you'd like.
Yes.
I personally don't think we need to assess zoning changes every year, all year. We could take a
We're
break
not
for a little
doing-
while.
Hey, I'd love a break.
okay, wait.
I make
wait,
a motion, we take a break from having a zoning revisions committee.
Wait, now, here, we don't want to go crazy. But I understand, I can see both sides. I absolutely do. the committee needs more guidance from us. Absolutely. What exactly do we want them to do? The one thing I do know that they've been working on or did work on was affordable housing, and that is a big thing. And still working on that. And I really would like them to focus on that. It depends on what the metrics are.
Like $100,000, people having $100,000 a year or more.
Correct.
Where the heck do you make that around here?
You don't. You don't. It's going, I'll tell you where it's going to. It's going to your urban centers. That's where it's going to. Urban centers. We need to get it here. That's what we need. And we need,
But we need our planning board, we need our,
Sense.
we gotta change things.
Zoning.
We want
Right.
zoning.
we need common sense zoning. However, I would really like to work more with the ZRC to give them a specific focus. And the thing that we do have, David, is that we do have the power. They're just giving us a recommendation.
I understand, but,
We have that power.
but
to
we
say
need
that
to
it's
decide
right.
what direction we want them to move in before we appoint more members. Why make them just keep meeting and say,
I
you-
get it. I
that's my
get it.
opinion. I think we should decide more what direction we want it to go before we push them and just say, here, go on off, do what you want.
Okay, so. Excuse me? They're all volunteer. And also keep that in mind, everyone. They're all volunteers. And they are doing, volunteering their time to do that. So, that is, and I thank them for that.
I think everybody here knows what being a volunteer.
We all do.
No,
Everyone
let's be
in
real.
here is a volunteer in some way or shape or form, So, so how do my other board members feel?
I would like to just table it for a little bit. I'd like to look into it. It does seem, I did look into the minutes some. It seems like we're straying away from zoning and coming more to environmental issues from what I can see, what I've read. So I would kind of just like to maybe get a redirection and then
Okay.
go from there. I do appreciate, Carol, everything you've put in. You've put in a lot of hard work and I do appreciate that. But I think we need to basically redirect, so. Amy?
Yeah, I agree with Jen, that the zoning is actually moving closer to environmental protection, and I don't think that's a bad thing. And I know that there are members or people in the community that think the zoning laws are too strict and would like to see them relaxed. And I think that's why they have to be taken into consideration one by one, because I don't want to forego the environment for the sake of relaxed zoning.
Right.
No, that's what you said last time. So we're gonna hopefully get you to go and agree with maybe.
Right.
More towards zoning.
Excuse me, guys, can you, if you want to just step outside, it's just hard for us to hear, okay?
All right.
No worries, no worries. Thank you. Okay, so the consensus is that we hold off on this, we talk with you and we redirect. When is your next meeting? The 30th. So only two of us could actually attend because then it would be a actual meeting. So
I think we need to have a meeting, whatever it is, so we can talk about it and decide, or do it through emails or wherever. That's what we talked about last month doing. And we didn't approach it at all this month. Mhm.
yes.
Um,
My understanding of the main thing that we want the ZRC to do is, as a member of the housing committee, is to make our zoning change so that we could have more houses built on smaller lots. Right now, so much is, we have to have a 3-acre lot, right? I'm just curious, do you guys agree that that's what we should be doing? Changing the zoning so that we have a better chance of making affordable housing happen?
Yes. I agree wholeheartedly. We've got to do something. I say it all the time, and I'll tell you what. We went to a fire call yesterday. I had a fully involved truck fire, and there were 7 of us there, and every one of us was 60 years old or older. If something doesn't change, if we don't get some new members, if we don't get some affordable housing in this town and things to change, we're gonna be in a lot of trouble, and then you'll see your taxes go up. We gotta pay attention. I've been singing this song for 15 years. I started the very first day that Art Basson became supervisor, and we looked into things, and we've gotten nowhere in 17 years.
Yeah, well.
There's a couple of things. One thing that I tried all the time to talk about, and I've tried to New York State and Columbia County, and I'll say this song again. I told him, Columbia County self-insures. We take care of the health insurance for all of our employees in Columbia County. If our fire companies offered health insurance to their volunteer firemen, there's a lot of guys out there that I'm a private contractor, but I work a lot of extra hours to pay for my health insurance. If we were paying for health insurance for our volunteer firemen, like we have a length of services awards program right now, there would be contractors that don't have to work a second job or work an extra 15 hours a week that could afford to be volunteer firemen. There might be some, we need to do everything we can to gain them. And I'm not certain that would work, but we got to make an effort. If we don't, we're cooked.
So I just don't understand when I thought I heard you say like, maybe we shouldn't have this zoning revisions committee every year. It's like, if we have this as our goal, this is the main thing we need to do is change our zoning. Don't we need the zoning revisions committee to do that?
Yes.
Yes,
But they need
we need
guidance.
to determine where they're going,
Yeah.
not just pie in the sky.
So what do we have to do to make that happen?
Right. No, of course it's not,
Okay.
but we need to be better communicators of what to help you along to know exactly what you're doing. And I don't know if she's had that group has had that. And so maybe, it is our job to actually say, this is really what we need you to focus on. And so that it's much more specific, so they're not pulling things from different areas that might work.
Here's the one thing that was, I think it was your advertisement, which was good. It says the ZRC, which works to align Ancrum zoning laws with Ancrum's comprehensive plan, is currently looking at Ancrum zoning law with a view to making it more friendly to affordable housing. So I think we've got to kind of direct into that way a little bit more. And I think that's kind of what we have to work on. But like what I've read over the last 2 meetings or so, I will read more. It was more an environmental issue than zoning, it seemed. Okay, that's just my take on it. But that's it.
If you'd like, I'll read the minutes from the January 19th zoning revisions committee meeting. Well, you tell me it's not pie in the sky. It talks about a constructed pond. Okay.
The small suggestion from Ed, which was an environment, I would say we don't say environment, like when the comprehensive zone is very highly in the environment. And if you want to do away with some of these environmental regulations, change the comprehensive plan. It's coming up, you put in, you give the guidance of not having so much environmental life. That's fixing the comprehensive. I mean, we're
Right.
a hard place.
Right.
You don't want company's regulations, people don't environmental. But that's already from the company.
And that is, zoning law has to
Well-
be it has to mesh with your comprehensive plan. That is a state law. And that's a goal. And so I think since it will be coming up on 10 years since we actually started the process of the comprehensive plan reevaluation, which you should do because your priorities change as your town changes. You should do that every, say, 10 years. That's going to impact what our zoning looks like. So, but we do have to focus on getting something, amending our current law that does make affordable housing a little bit easier for people coming in here to do that.
Well, maybe I think we've got to do something and I'm not certain. We've got to be able to look at maybe suspending things if somebody comes in and says, I've got a plan for affordable housing. Or if someone comes in and say, I want to give away 2 pieces of land. Should we jam down their throat the fact that they need to pay, they've already paid one company to do the surveying and do the engineering and everything else, and then immediately they're told they're gonna pay for another company to do the same work again.
So you mean like incentive, like some sort of incentive,
We
Yeah.
we as a town have to want some affordable housing. We've got to be willing to make some compromises and different things if we want those to happen.
Yeah, if I could just say, in the last couple of years that I've been on this committee, it seems like every time it comes up, some people in the audience are, really aggravated about something like you guys just seem to be. And if I could just, I mean, I don't have authority to speak for the committee tonight or anything, but I've been on this committee. And, there's this property right very close to the middle of town. It's a little over 4 acres that we've been looking at and hoping we could get it and build something there, but the zoning would only allow for, so it's I think it's 4.3 acres or 4.1, I'm not sure. We could build 2 structures with 4 units each, but we have to partner with one of the nonprofit companies like Hudson River Housing or Repco, which hasn't really done anything rurally in Columbia County. So Hudson River Housing looked at it and they said, we can't make the numbers work. We need to build more units to have it work out, but our zoning doesn't allow for more units.
Well,
So
that's, I think, one of the things too. Everything that we're looking at for affordable housing is all based on rentals. And most of the people that I know around don't really want, they would be willing to take a half acre piece of property and put a double wide on it and put in a well and a septic and do it, but they don't want to live in an apartment. That's what, and that's what I hear from them. And that's might be some of the consternation by some of the people. Because we keep hearing about the fact that one of those company wants to build a 24, they talked about it the one day, Bonnie talked about that it was gonna be a 24 unit building. The one group did, the guy that came and gave the presentation here.
That's, they wanted to put, in order for them to be like, send a maintenance guy.
Yeah, he said for it to work for him, just like you said, they need a bigger place to make it pay out. But
remember what you're referring to, but let's say Habitat, for example, they have now changed their whole model that they,
how did that work out?
wait, let me finish. okay?
Nobody's happy with it, seriously.
Happy with what? I haven't said anything yet.
Happy with what? Ask these 2 people, they live next door to it.
I'm not talking about the past. I'm talking about what they want to do now.
Okay,
May I
Yeah.
finish?
Yes, absolutely.
They want to build, like on a minimum, 3 acre lot, I think they could build 6 houses. Or 4 acres, 8, that kind of thing. But it's the same chasing our tail thing, that land that we could get for, 125,000 it's on the market for. It's not big enough. for habitat. I think I'm wrong when I said 3 acres. The problem is that with that land is that not all of it is flat. Some of it has steepness down to Route 82. But anyway, my point is, we're just in this perpetual chasing our tail thing, and it's not our fault. We can't make it in half, and this is a problem all over the country. And the thing that we can do to try to make something happen is to change the zoning. So let's focus on that, okay?
Yep. And I think we're all in agreement that that needs to happen. So we will work with Carol, with the committee, and work with you to help you do that. I understand your concern about not having enough members. Right now you have 7, right? So, and you lost 2, so you're normally at 9. So that's something you feel, I get it, Jen, you wanna look at it a little bit more. I understand, David, what you're saying.
I still wanna look at it, and see what direction we should be going, and then let's put people on and let's send them on their way.
Yeah.
Not work anymore, just follow the committees.
No, I mean, if you have enough people to do it, I think, I feel like we should be attending the meetings too, to see, talk with everyone as well to support you. I'm happy to go. I would love it if someone else on the board would go with me so that it's
I
on
think we
Zoom.
should start having the meetings in person to start with.
Would you
think-
be willing to do it?
I
in
think that
person?
would be a beneficial thing to start with. So you could sit here and say, because quite honestly, exactly what B said, let's look at putting some zoning in where you could get like a 5-acre piece and put 4 houses on it,
Right.
and leave 1 acre vacant so that there's a little bit of space or
So you have green space.
or put
Yeah,
or put
something.
or put 6 pieces on 6 houses, 6 half-acre slots, and you keep an acre wild up front next to the road and an acre in the back wild, for septic or whatever, I don't know, but those are the types of things we need to work towards, which will help us really fast, really quickly.
Yeah,
And maybe this,
and it would still have to. What?
what was that?
They're gonna need watchable survey done on where there's water street.
What
You guys
water?
figured out that climbing place over here, what to do, because of all the wells they were gonna have to sink, they were worried about water going to the rest of the residents in the town. Has anybody done any surveys on it?
There was
What
a,
about a 2 acre lot with 4 or 5 buildings? That's a lot of water.
there was a well survey done in 2009. And that is on our website as well. So that is something that absolutely you have to worry about
You're gonna have
that
to
when you
prove
cluster
stuff,
things.
right?
You have to prove it. You can't not, you're concerned about, okay, if you put 4 houses and they each try to drill a well, what's that going to do to your aquifer, right? So it can have really crazy impacts to your aquifer. However, if you create your zoning so that maybe you can have a shared well, if it's got enough capacity, I think that would work, but I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. I'm just speculating, but again, that would our zoning right now doesn't allow for that. As Mr. Boyce was saying, there was an issue with the planning board and an application. So if we don't adjust, and make that available to people if they want to do that type of place where it's appropriate and where it's possible, then we're kind of, as B said, we're spinning our wheels that we're not able to get forward with it because our zoning is our law and we have to follow our law.
We have a lot more shared wells in town than anybody knows.
Right, all the older ones.
There's a lot of shared wells. Quite honestly, I'm pretty jealous of both of my neighbors. Each one of them have 50 gallons a minute and I've got about 2 1/4. And I run out of, if I leave a hose on for 10 minutes, I'm out of water, but
Right,
they run for 50
Right.
gallons a minute all day long.
right. Okay, so we're gonna have to table then, looking at voting on the next member or if we choose to add members to Carol's.
Yeah, I just would like to say one thing,
Yeah.
just for the benefit of the public. The Ancrum zoning law is 307 pages long. It's a major document. So, I mean, this is not an easy job that they're tasked with,
No.
and it does deserve more attention from the town board to give them direction, because there's a lot to review in this document.
Yeah,
The other thing I was gonna say, this is not uncommon. Everybody is going through affordable housing crisis. And nobody seems to have a quick and easy answer. So we're in the same boat. So we've got to think outside of the box, I think. But this is not unheard of, and everybody is having the same situation.
yeah. I agree. Okay, so we will table then doing that.
We still on new business?
We do, well, we will have the garage sale, which is not our town garage. Monica said, someone said, are we selling the town garage? No, it's a Jim, we're not happening. This is kind of like a yard sale. We would like to do a townwide yard sale.
Before you go to resolutions,
Oh.
I have one more for you.
Oh.
One more thing.
Okay,
I want to apologize. There are 5 Thursdays in April.
okay,
I was not aware of this. Last year in May, when I booked my vacation for this year for April, I looked and saw that there were 2 Thursdays and figured I was going to be back in time.
okay.
So I'm away on the 16th. I know, and,
So we just need to adjust the
and by
date.
virtue of that, Mrs. Boyce is away on
Right, then we don't have
on the
quorum,
16th
so-
too. Believe me, I said, no, I can't do that. I mean, I got plane tickets and everything before, so, if we could, there you go, if we could change it by a week.
Okay, so let's take a look at that. We'll get a date.
So,
The third,
the 23rd is the following Thursday. Here's the hitch and the giddy up. I'm away the 19th through the 22nd. So I'll be at my conference the 19th through the 22nd, which means that the bills will have to be completed as normal, like we're having our meeting the 16th. So I can have them done to the bookkeeper and completed, because I won't have time to do it
when you come back.
in the 12-hour time span between me getting back and us being in a meeting.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
I think that makes sense.
Means we just gotta have the bills in like normal.
Right, correct.
Right, just, yeah.
No, we can still sign them. I'll just have the bookkeeper prepare them, and what my thought process is when I send the bills to the bookkeeper, when I send for the checks to be cut, because we don't want to wait that extra week, because then we get hit with late fees.
Do it on the 23rd.
So my thought process was, when I send the bill packet to the bookkeeper, I will email it to all of you, so you are all aware of the bills. I've talked to Jim. We don't have anything special coming through in the next 30 days. It's going to be all our standard bills, the phone
Okay.
bill, the electric bill, that kind of stuff. So there's nothing
Pressing.
pressing that's coming up. If anything does, I'll let you all know, but.
All right. So then, yeah, I'll make a motion that we change the town board meeting for April to the 23rd.
I will second that.
All in favor? Awesome. All right. Thank you for letting me know. That's awesome.
No, well, if you have to, it has to be done at this meeting.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll move that.
Couldn't believe it when I looked at it. I said, oh my God, this can't be.
It happens. All good. Let's see. So I guess then want to do the resolutions before we go into executive session, so that's done. It's just the resolutions is for the Teamsters. We could do that. Well, before we do resolutions, does anyone have any questions, comments? Popcorn. Popcorn.
No popcorn, sorry. Wish I had popcorn.
Yeah, me too.
Hi, town resident.
Okay.
Thank you all. Well, congratulations, everybody, for the new year, for Boyce and Colleen Lutz and everybody. What is going on with the grant for the pavilion and the grant for the salt shed? Did that come through yet?
It hasn't come through yet. All paperwork is there at DASNY, which is for the pavilion.
Right.
So, actually, I think I was able to update, it came back to me to update and I resent something last week. So that one, I haven't heard anything in the last week, whether I need to put in more information, I don't know. The salt shed, that has, their first submission is in, but it got bumped back for me for payroll information. Jim gave me the payroll information, so that is being resubmitted. However, that grant period is 2025 to 2027.
Yeesh.
So they're not, so I keep like having to ask them because they're not really looking for anything because they're not they're thinking they're going to close it out in 27, but I think I can close it out anytime I want. So that's my goal, is to close it out this year.
Okay, and what was the cost of the pavilion and the salt shed?
So the pavilion cost was right now is 140 and change. I just don't have it right in front of me. The salt shed total cost for that, Jim, was it about 220? Yeah. And so like the total right. So you have to figure out like the total budget with our in-kind and everything was around like 220, I think.
Okay,
Really?
so that came out of the highway budget.
Yes.
But the pavilion came out of the general fund?
Right. And so funds will go back to the highway department or the highway budget and the general fund.
Okay.
That structure down there in the cemetery, made $140,000 get that built?
Wow. And what are we looking at with regards to revenue from that? Do we have any revenue from last year to now? From when it was built to now? Like I hear this, we're doing $125 to rent it, and we may be adding electric and fencing and porta potties.
We're holding off on that. The porta potty will be there for the camp. So that would all.
Well, normally for the camp, right?
It's for the camp.
Okay.
It's normally there. We're not going to change that at all. Electric, we are not pursuing that at this time. Fencing, I'd like to pursue that for Mr. McComish, whether it be some sort of,
Is that the house next to him?
yeah, or possibly if he would want tree, like a tree planting or something like that. I'd like to do that with him. And what was the other question?
I think that was it.
Okay.
The porta potty.
Revenue. Okay.
Revenue.
We rented it once.
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was not really built as a revenue generator.
It was
We
really
didn't
mostly
expect-
for
We
the
didn't expect there to be.
What was it for? I thought it was for.
kids camp
Kids camp.
mostly.
And then,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, there is some revenue in the fact that you think we aren't gonna pay $6,000 this year for the tent.
True.
We paid-
The-
We paid $6,000 every year to put a tent up.
Right.
So in 30 years' time, we'll get it back.
That's what I'm saying.
But so there was, 6,000.
It saves
6,000.
saves $6,000 a year. Okay. Are we doing any more spending? This
On
year,
the
any more
pavilion?
projects?
Well, with the exception of we're doing the website, which we
Right.
did budget for.
25 grand.
Yeah, we
that's
budgeted
fine.
for that.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
We don't have a choice.
we
Right,
have
right.
to upgrade it.
that's good. But no more, I know you're talking about solar project, something to do with erecting like a lean-to type of thing over the parking lot.
We looked at that, but
I think that's
it
gonna look
costs
silly.
prohibitive at this point.
And we
So,
know from David Boyce's previous, I think, talk in October or September about the solar panels that were on the roof. We're in a negative after 15 years.
About, I think we broke even and that's,
No, we weren't even close, quite
Right.
honestly.
I mean,
we were about,
we've
2000.
changed to LED everywhere. We've
Yeah.
all done that. And I feel everybody in their household has done LED change over the last 20 years, and it was a lot of money.
Mhm.
And our energy went up. So looking what happened with the solar panels on the roof, nothing happened.
Mhm.
Nothing's gonna change until I think we get over this climate nonsense and, you know, we look at what we have here, natural gas and fossil fuels.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Should clarify too, the website is a $25,000 cost, but it's paid out over 5 years. So it's actually 5,000 for 5 years.
And we are forced to upgrade it for accessibility. So it by the state, so. Oh, yeah,
I'm just gonna say, since this has been a big topic with the planning board and everything tonight, the only reason, sole reason I come to these meetings, William Baker, I'm a resident, for you that don't know me, is because of the overreach by the planning board in certain departments in this town. I feel that certain departments target certain individuals. And it's just, it's not fair the way the process works here. So that's the only reason I come to these meetings. Mr. Boyce and Mrs. Boyce are aware of the situations I've gone through, so.
all right, thanks,
Yep.
Willie. Yeah, I did write it in here. Okay, so, first motion I'd like to make is to approve Monica and Jim. Can I put you two together? I'll put you two together to go to your respective conferences.
Let's second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, awesome. And then we do have one resolution. Monica, you'll figure out the number. It is hereby resolved that the town board hereby ratifies and approves the attached collective bargaining agreement between the town of Ankrum and the International Brotherhood of Teamsters Local 294, covering the period of January 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2028, and authorizes and directs the town supervisor on behalf of the town of Ankrum to execute the collective bargaining agreement between the parties. Roll call. Okay. Councilman Boyce,
Yes.
Councilman Gold, Councilwoman Boyce. Yes. And myself, yes. Okay, so that is approved. Phew, that was a big one.
Yeah.
And next I'd entertain a motion to enter into executive session to discuss financial, medical, credit, or employment history of a particular person's, corporations, or relating to appointment, promotion, demotion, discipline, and removal of a particular person's.
I'll make that motion, but before we do that, do we need to make the motion about changing next month's meeting? Or did we do that already?
We did it.
Okay, then I make a motion, we go into executive session.
Okay, thank you. Second. We'll be back.
Alright, back.
I have to look at your.
I make a motion, we return from executive session.
Second. All in favor? We're very punchy at this point.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Wait,
Oh, no,
wait.
we gotta pay the bills.
So David's making a motion to approve the warrant and pay the bills. I will, okay, you'll second that. All in favor? Aye. Yeah, we voted and
Yes.
and Amy abstained. Yep. And we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make that motion too.
I will second that. All in favor? You better be. We're good. Thank you.